You guys have a lot of questions and some are kind of basic, but if you don't ask them, they can harm your business. So in today's video, I'm answering some of your stupid but important questions on cold email, lead generation, and sales. Stick around, this is going to be a good one. Who am I? I'm Alex Berman. They call me the Cold Email King. I'm the author of Cold Email Manifesto, and we've generated over $100 million in leads with cold email. If you don't know, cold email is sending a message to somebody that does not know you, pitching your product or service, and getting them to buy. And it is one of the easiest, best, and cheapest ways to grow your software as a service company or your agency. And in today's video, we've talked to you. We've talked to the audience, the viewers on this channel, and we've compiled a lot of questions, and I want to answer all of them for you right now. But before we jump into it, make sure that you subscribe down below and smash that like button for a ton more cold email content. All right, let's jump into it. First question is, how many email sequences are enough? The answer is as many as it takes in order to have a successful campaign. So when we go out to create our cold email sequence, we want eventually to find one that works and that generates consistent revenue for us. So we will send 200 emails to a specific group, and then we'll measure everything else. So we send 200 emails, we look at the open rate, we look at the response rate, we look at the meeting book rate, and see how the email performs. If it performs better than our expectations, so let's say open rate's over 70%, response rate is around 16, 17%, and meeting book rate is 4 to 6%, then we'll scale it up. So we'll go from 200, then the next send on that campaign will be to 1,000, and we'll see if the numbers hold. And if the numbers hold, then the next one will scale to 5,000 or 6,000. And then from there, we can scale it up and up and up until we have everyone in the market hit, and then we're making millions of dollars from the cold email campaign. So how many sequences are enough? As many as it takes to win. For some companies, we get it instantly on the first one. We write an email sequence and it hits and they're flooded with meetings and they love us and we love them, especially if they're X27 clients and we get compensated based on the number of meetings we're booking. That's great for everybody involved. They make more money. We make more money. They're happy. It's just good all around. But sometimes it might take months. Or sometimes cold email just might not work for your business or your offer, or something needs to change. You don't have the case studies to make it happen. You don't have the value proposition to make it happen, or it's impossible or very, very hard to describe your service to your target market. All of these could lead to delays in your cold email campaign. And so the easy answer to how many email sequences are enough is it's never enough. All right, question number 2. What if I'm not able to get super specific to my target audience? So let's say you're selling digital marketing services. First of all, that's a very generic offer and there's no target audience. So what I like to do is we like to boil the business ideas down to a very specific structure. I help company type do thing and get X results. So I help digital agencies book more sales meetings and make more money. Easy. I help XYZ company do thing and get Y result. And if you can't answer that, then you have to answer that. That's just it. Don't tell me you're selling digital marketing services to every business unless you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation or even a successful agency, but the person answering this question is not. So what if I'm not able to get super specific? Well, you are. You just pick a target audience. You can go to LeadShark and look at the industries if you want. All of those are multi-billion dollar, if not trillion dollar industries. So you can just pick one of those and use that as a starting point. Or look at what your past skills are, your past jobs. If you've had a job, maybe you worked as a sandwich delivery guy, then maybe you can sell to sandwich shops, or other restaurants. Maybe you worked in an agency as an intern. Well, you can sell to agencies. Maybe you worked for a SaaS startup. You can do that. Look at your past and use that to find your target audience. And if you still can't do it, then maybe you need to get a job for a few months to learn the business, and maybe you just don't know enough yet. And that can be solved in about 3 months. It's not like you have to get a job for the rest of your life. You can go get an internship or a junior role somewhere, stay there for 3 months and learn enough to build your own agency and jump everyone else and not have to ask questions like this? How can I get limitless leads? Limitless leads. Well, what you're actually asking, the question behind the question, is not how can I get leads in bulk, because you can get leads in bulk from everywhere online, including LeadShark, where the more leads you buy, the cheaper it is. You know, some people are going to get 30,000 leads a month or 100,000 leads a month or 200,000 leads a month from LeadShark, and lead generation itself is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So the answer is not how can I get limitless leads, because you can find limitless leads anywhere. You can even find limitless cheap leads by finding lead pools where your customers hang out and finding email addresses, going through scraping manually. What you're actually asking is how can I make money from cold email? Because if you are sending to 200,000 leads, I could give you that many leads. I could even send you that many leads in your email right now. But if you can't turn those into customers, then there's no point. If you're sending to 200,000 leads and you're not making at least $200,000 from those leads, then something's out of whack in the rest of your campaign. So I wouldn't even think about that. If you're thinking about the costs still, then you have to improve your skill level. Because if you're playing in a space where you can't afford 2,000 leads or you can't afford 3,000 leads, then you have to treat each lead like it's more special, or you have to do more of the grunt work yourself, maybe generating clients on Google Maps and calling the numbers, or looking at other directories online like Clutch for agency services. Whatever you're doing, you're going to have to do more manual labor if you don't want to pay for it. Next one is, how do I sustain the engagement of my emails? If you're losing engagement over time, so the more leads you add to the campaign, the less the engagement is, that has to do with your lead source. If you're tapping into XYZ lead source, and you broaden the criteria, naturally, you're going to send to lower and lower quality leads, especially if your market isn't very big. So the way that you sustain engagement for your emails is sell to a market that can support your business. So I'm not talking about sending to a market where there's like 3,000 people total in the entire market. You want to sell to a market where there are millions of potential customers for you, because that's the only way you're going to be able to build a business where you have like 10,000 customers. Let's say you instead want to go for a market where there's 4,000 people total. Well, you could email 4,000 people in a month, and what's going to happen in month 2? You're not going to have anyone to email. That's just as simple as it is. So a lot of these questions about how to find more leads, how to sustain the engagement of the email, just comes down to picking the right market and selling something that people actually want. Next question is, suppose I have 10,000 people on my email list. How am I supposed to write personalized intros for so many people? And the answer is, you don't write personalized intros for 10,000 people. You write personalized intros for 200 people. Then you send an email campaign. You see how it does. And hopefully you make some money. If not, you try again, try again, try again. So at most, you're going to write personalized intros for maybe 1,000 of them. And then the other 9,000, you can hire somebody or use one of the AI tools, Quicklines, Warmer.ai. Any of these guys have AI first lines, but it's not worth investing in, and it's not worth automating this task until you have gotten results from it yourself. So how are you supposed to write personalized first lines to 10,000 people? You're not, and you just need to test more. You just need to send less emails and not more emails. Most people think that if they just push their offer with more emails, they'll succeed. But what a lot of them need is fewer, higher quality emails to more likely targets. That's all you need. Somebody else asks, how can I use other businesses' case studies when I'm starting up from scratch? You can't. You can't use another business's case study when you're starting up from scratch. You have to use your own case studies. And if you don't have the ability to scale up, or you don't have the ability to find work, then you're going to have to work for free. And the best place to work for free is at the type of business that you want to eventually create. Negotiate a results-based compensation offer where you get like 5% of the revenue you generate or 10% of the revenue that you generate. That way that even if you work for free, then you'll end up making some money on the back end. How exactly can I use other businesses' case studies? The other way that you can do this is if you're selling for that business as a sales consultant. But even then, you're coming in as a partner for the business. You're not using their case studies for anything. If you have the permission from an agency to sell on their behalf, then you have to use them to fulfill the work. You're not just getting a case study. We're not just stealing things from people and using them without their permission. If you sell for somebody, then you have to fulfill the work and then you take a little percentage. Anything else would be unethical. Next question. How do you sell graphic design services for dollars, not for pennies? So instead of charging 2 cents For your graphic design services, you sell for $1 instead. And then when anybody asks you, how much it is, instead of saying, oh, it's pennies, you say it's dollars. That's it. You think you're like, oh, it can't be that simple. But yeah, bro, what's the difference between somebody that's selling for 500 and someone that's selling for 5,000? Well, the one that's selling for 5,000 has that price on his website and will not sell for 500. Even if somebody comes in and is like, oh, dude, I know you're selling for 5,000, but like, could you do it for like 2,000? They're going to say, no, this is our offer. We have so many clients out here that are succeeding and we know the value that this delivers. The reason it's 5,000 is because you can incorporate this thing into your site and immediately see an increase in conversions. Nobody else can say that on the market, only us. That's why our thing is $5,000. Next one is a longer one. A little too long if you ask me. Hi, Alex. Thank you for supporting me. Never mind. I shouldn't have said the mean thing a second ago. How can I acquire emails from people that are interested in my services and where can I find them? I've been a web developer for over 7 years. I have a developer and designer, thus I'm looking for a client that can provide me with a Shopify or PHP website. Can you provide me with a free solution to get clients' emails? As I've gone through Email 10K, all the paid options aren't within my budget. Go on over to their website and look at their contact form. And there's an email right there. Next one is, how do you deal with market saturation when prospects are getting a lot of emails? Well, you understand, one, that if you're selling to a saturated market, you have to be better or different than everyone else. You can't just copy paste somebody else's business and send it to them because they've already seen that. You have to write your own scripts and you have to create your own concept, have your own case studies, and all of that is going to be a differentiator. The other thing you can do is not pick a market with saturation. Nobody told you to sell lead generation to agencies. Nobody told you. I'm telling you not to do it. Honestly, I run an agency that does this. I would say never do this. Don't sell anything to agencies. They're very bad customers and all of them are broke. Pick a different industry. So instead of selling lead generation to agencies, sell lead generation to logistics companies, lead generation to manufacturing companies, anybody else that's not exactly what you've seen in a course, copy paste it. Or if you do want to clone exactly what the course teacher is selling, then you're going to have to look at why they're successful. Why do people buy X27 versus the thousands or millions of other people that are pitching them every day? Because we have case studies that prove that we have generated meetings with Fortune 500 clients and we're not lying about them. And people can tell when you're lying in your case studies, even though you think you can just write on your Twitter bio, like, closed $2 million in cold email last year. People can see right through it because you're not acting like somebody who closed $2 million in cold email last year. Or whatever you're writing. I had this guy, the reason why I bring that up is I had this guy recently who signed up for Twitter 10K, and the first thing he did was write something like that in his bio, and then just start tweeting about cold email to try to sell other copies of Email 10K or Twitter 10K on affiliate commission. That's not the way you operate. That's not the way you do business. Cut it out. Be honest about where you are and then get better, and then you'll get the case studies. We didn't start with these case studies. What happened was we sat down at our computers and we cold emailed the Fortune 500 and we got better at it until they got back, and then we booked the meetings and now we can put the logos on our website. There was no process of borrowing these logos from anybody. We literally had to build our skill. And you got to do the same thing because people can see through the BS. Next up, how do you write a cold email to get a better response rate? When introducing a creative way to structure a commercial real estate, how do you get a potential client to respond to an email to learn more about the product? I would follow the 3 C's, complement, case study, call to action. And if you think, oh, my thing's too complex to use that, I need to explain everything here, then my advice to you is go back to the 3 C's, complement, case study, call to action, and use those in your email. Question, what software/tool do you use to record your sales calls? How do we handle sales calls? If I'm doing a sales call on Zoom, I just use Zoom to record. If I'm doing a sales call on Skype, then I'm recording the screen using OBS, which is a free recording software. How do we handle sales calls? I follow the process that's inside SalesmanX. My email subject is perfect. Email body is also perfect. Reply rate is also perfect. But when people are interested in our services, but they don't show in a meeting, they either don't join or say not interested. If everything you said is actually true, then your offer is not compelling enough. You need to go back to the drawing board when it comes to creating an offer. The way to think about that is, I will deliver XYZ thing, and if you don't get Y results in blank days, I'll give you something. So think about that. And if you've boiled your offer down to that, then people will start saying yes. And if not, you need to tweak the offer. So I will generate 10 qualified meetings on your calendar in the next week. And if I don't get at least 10, then you pay me nothing. And if I get 10, then you pay me $200 per qualified meeting, and you get to choose what qualification is. So even if I book 10 and you hate one of them, you can get them all for free. That's a no-brainer offer. See, what are you saying? Yeah, I'm going to say yes to that. A good no-brainer offer is something that sounds like they're stealing from you. It's that valuable. Is that a good offer? I don't know. Go try it. I wouldn't sell that offer. Just because I know 10 meetings in a week is very hard to fulfill for certain clients. I would have to be very careful about who I offered that for. But if I had enough confidence in their offer and everything to say that, then yeah, I would offer it and we'd deliver on it. Question. I'm starting my own agency this month and I plan to get just one client for now to see how I do and refine my process. Questions. What's the bare minimum system I need in place to do lead gen for my client? Do I need a CRM even if I'm just starting out with one client that I'm doing lead gen for? Okay, it sounds like you need the basics. So if you still want all the basics, you want to know how to send an email, what's a cold email, what tools should I use, how should I write my email, what's my testing process, how do I get a client? If you have all those questions, then the answer for all of those in detail are inside all of our courses, which you can get at email10k.com. It also comes with access to a community of hustlers, and you get to talk to me every single week to help you with all of these questions, regardless of how simple and basic they are. So if you want that, you want access to me, you want to join this private community, then go on over to email10k.com right now. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.